The Space65 Round 1 was the board that got me into the hobby. I watched a Wildcat video and I was immediately hooked. I ended up buying two Space65 Round 2s, and it still remains to be my favorite keyboard, mostly because of its aesthetic. The previous iteration of the Space65 looked really good, but it had some issues. The board can sound hollow and it was a top mount, so typing feel was a bit stiff. Full disclosure, this board was sent to me by Graystudio, but the opinions here are mine. I personally believe that the choice between top mount and gasket mount is one of preference. But in a market where almost every premium board is gasket mounted, I understand the pressure to go with what's in demand. The iconic design of the Space65 has been retained. The side-firing RGB and the LED badge is here, and yes, you can use your round 2 badges. There is also now a middle case which is visible and divides the top and bottom case. USB Type-C has been moved to the middle where there is a daughter board. The externals of the Space65 Round 3 remain very similar, but the internals have been totally revamped. There is now a hot swap PCB, which is a first. It also has flex cuts to give a softer typing feel. You also get a PE sheet for the PCB, which I know may turn off some people, but it is optional, and for my first build, I decided not to use it. I received a POM and PC plate to test. Both have flex cuts and have wings that extend out of the plate. They are mounted to the case through the silicone gasket socks. You also get the silicone standoffs, which is the first of its kind that I've seen. It's actually a great way of connecting the plate and the PCB for hot swap builds without making the assembly stiffer. There is also a daughter board at the bottom case to isolate the USB socket from the PCB, though it is a bit tricky to connect the JST cable on the first try. The bottom case attaches to the middle case by screws from the top, making it a screwless design, which I found a bit funny because the weight at the back has some fake screws etched into it. They went to the trouble of making it screwless, but you still see some screws, I guess? And this is the board. I honestly don't like green, but I didn't get to pick the color on this one, so I guess that's fine. I first used the POM plate and the typing feel was soft. There is noticeable flex on the keys, which some people may like. This is preference, but I found the spacebar a bit too soft for my liking. I want hard bottom outs on my spacebar, so I would have wanted to test an FR4 or an aluminum plate. For the sound, the POM plate had a relatively deep sound and it was a bit muted. Putting in the PE foam surprisingly didn't change it too much. It just made the sound pop a tiny bit more, but there was no significant change. Here is a quick sound comparison. The PC plate was a bit stiffer than POM and had a higher pitch. The sound test of that will be at the end of this video. In my opinion, your plate choice will greatly affect the sound and typing feel of the board. If you want a deeper and softer typing feel, you can go with the POM plate, while an FR4 or aluminum plate will give you a higher pitch sound with a stiffer typing feel. So, should you buy this board, or if you have an R2, should you upgrade? Well, overall, I still think this is a good keyboard. Design is subjective, but to me, it is still one of the best looking keyboards in the market. If aesthetic is your main criteria for a keyboard, there is not that much of a difference between round 2 and round 3, so you should be fine. Some may not like how the round 2 design was retained, but it was a good design to begin with, so I was personally okay with it. However, if you want something that sounds better and has a softer typing feel, I think round 3 is worth it. For me, I am keeping both. I will be joining the round 3 group buy to buy a white colorway since I do not like this green, and I am keeping my Space65 Round 2 as well. And that's it for this video. I'll leave you with the full sound test and see you in the next one. Bye!